Revealed, how a heartwarming encounter with a new maid transformed a billionaire's life forever. Jack Hayes stared out of his expansive window, the sprawling lawns of his neighbors gleaming under the summer sun, yet behind the luxury, an emptiness gnawed at him. Years of ruthless dealings had built an empire, but intimacy with family had crumbled like a fragile paper wall. He had sacrificed so much, yet here he stood, cloaked in loneliness, haunted by the thought of his estranged teenage daughter, Emma. The reality of their fractured relationship weighed heavy over him, a melancholy shadow in his opulent mansion. It was within this hollow existence that Maria stepped in, a fresh breeze in Jack's stagnant world. At 28, she embodied the American dream in a way Jack had long since forgotten. A maid balancing 3 jobs and caring for a sick mother, she was everything Jack dismissed as being beneath him. Their first encounters bubbled with tension, his dismissive remarks met with her unwavering determination. She stood tall, embodying resilience as she tackled her life with grit. As Jack's arrogance pushed her away, he couldn't escape her fierce spirit that mirrored what he had lost. Days turned to weeks, and Jack's internal crisis grew more profound, mingling with the sudden toll of impending loss. One call: Emma's close friend had been in a devastating car accident. Panic and guilt crashed over him like a rogue wave. Jack's thoughts immediately turned to Emma. In that vulnerable moment, Maria's voice pierced through his fog. She spoke about loyalty, family, and forgiving the mistakes of yesterday, each word fueling his awakening. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. Her honesty flung open doors he thought were long sealed. As they spoke, hearts laid bare, Jack felt a flicker of hope igniting within him. There, in her presence, his gilded cage began to crack, revealing the longing for connection he'd buried beneath the weight of wealth. However, a daunting realization surfaced. How could he reconnect with Emma, a teenager navigating her own labyrinth of dreams and wants, while still chained to the very empire that had isolated him? His first attempt to bridge that gap resulted in failure, a mistaken notion that he could simply fix things with money and grandeur. Instead, it pushed Emma further away, amplifying Jack's internal struggle. But Maria, against all odds, encouraged him to discard perceptions and truly listen, igniting a spark that craved justice for all involved. As Jack began to change, the community, too, started to take notice of his evolution. Maria had opened his eyes to worth beyond mere financial value, teaching him that love and connection blinded by wealth could illuminate lives. Just as he began to embrace this truth, another choice loomed: a business deal that could either solidify his empire or finally bring him back into the arms of the family he ached to embrace. The stakes had never been higher. Would he chase the facade he built, or step into a reality filled with warmth and forgiveness? The answer felt close, but so did the prospect of losing everything he had truly begun to cherish. Jack spent the next few days in an anxious haze. The business deal weighed heavily on him, each morning bringing a relentless reminder of the choices he had to make. It felt as if the walls of his mansion, once a symbol of success, were closing in on him. But in the midst of this unrest, Maria's words echoed in his mind, urging him to embrace love and family, rather than wealth and power. He stood once more at the expansive window, the sun casting its warm hues across the manicured grass outside. He saw families enjoying their lives together, laughing, sharing moments that meant the world to them, moments he had missed. For once, he didn't just see the glistening lawn, he felt the emptiness within himself. It gnawed at him with renewed intensity, demanding to be filled. Maria's laughter came from the other room, a joyous sound that made Jack's heart race. He found himself gravitating towards it, curiosity sparking a flicker of hope. He pushed the door open slightly, watching her tidy up the scattered papers on his desk. Her focus was intense, and she hummed a soft tune, lost in her world. As if sensing his presence, she turned and smiled, a radiant light breaking through his shadows. "Mr. Hayes," she greeted, her smile disarming him in a way that felt achingly unfamiliar. "You look like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders." Jack chuckled softly, forcing a lightness into his voice. "Maybe I do. Or maybe it's just you reminding me that I should let some of it go." Maria tilted her head, intrigued. "Not everything can be fixed with money, you know. Sometimes, the best things in life are free." He was silent, caught between the desire to share his fears and feeling too vulnerable to expose himself. "Have you thought about speaking with Emma?" she asked gently, her eyes sincere. His heart tightened. I don't know what to say. Or if she even still wants to hear from me." Maria stepped closer, her presence calming, grounding him. "Start with honesty. Kids can smell insincerity from a mile away. Just let her know you want to be there for her." Swallowing hard, Jack acknowledged her wisdom. The thought of confronting the distance between them was terrifying, but Maria's encouragement made it feel less daunting. "Okay," he finally said, determination surging within him. "I'll reach out to her." Her smile widened, an infectious light that illuminated the room. "That's the spirit. And remember, it'll take time. You've got to show her that you're serious about being a dad again." Jack felt a flicker of excitement mixed with fear. It was a step towards the unknown, but his heart swelled with the possibility of mending their fractured relationship. As he picked up his phone to draft a message to Emma, a sudden ring interrupted the moment. It was Samantha, his ever-persistent business partner. The call could shift his world. Either he could solidify his empire, or risk it all for family. "Jack," she said, her voice sharp and commanding. "Are you ready to discuss the deal?" His breath caught in his throat. He stood at a crossroads, the horizon before him bright with promise but clouded with uncertainty. As he let her voice fade into the background, a singular thought ignited within him: which path would he choose? In the thick of his internal struggle, he knew he had to make a choice that would change everything, including the prospect of his family's love. Would he really let money dictate his life again, or would he leap into the risk of vulnerability and hope? With his heart racing, he reached for his phone, ready to take the plunge. What answer would he give? Jack stood frozen, torn between the looming business deal and the voice on the other end of the phone, which seemed to echo in the silence of his mansion. In that moment, he felt the weight of years pulling him in two directions. It was as if a battle was raging inside him, the stakes higher than he had ever considered. On one hand, the prospect of consolidating his wealth and further growing his empire beckoned like a siren's call. On the other, the thought of reaching out to Emma, of reconnecting with the daughter he adored but had so poorly neglected, gripped his heart with urgency. "Jack?" Samantha's tone was impatient, pulling him from his reverie. "Are you still there?" "Yes, I'm here," he replied, forcing himself to focus. But his voice faltered, as his heart was still debating its next step. "What's the delay?" she urged. "We can't afford to waste time. The investors are ready." He gazed out the window again, trying to drown out the noise of the business world. Families were still playing outside, their laughter underscoring every hesitation in his heart. Would he have that joy? Could he reclaim it? "I'll call you right back," Jack finally said, hanging up before Samantha could protest. He didn't need to hear her frustration right now. He needed to think. Instead of chasing after more wealth, could he think about building something more meaningful? Something that could restore the love he had so carelessly let slip away. Minutes ticked by as Jack sat at his desk, the phone still clutched tightly in his hand. He replayed Maria's encouragement in his mind. Start with honesty. Those words struck a chord deep within him. This was it, his moment. He scrolled through his contacts, his heart drumming against his chest as he found Emma's name. His fingers trembled over the screen as he typed out a draft. "Hey Emma, it's Dad. I know things have been tough lately. I really want to talk. But what would he say next? Each word felt heavy, burdened with unspoken apologies, lost time, and unfulfilled promises. He took a deep breath, summoning the courage he needed. I care about you and I've missed so much. Can we meet up? Just as he finished typing, another ring pierced through the air. Glancing at the caller ID, he noted it was Anna, his old friend from college. Maybe she can help me clear my head, he thought. Taking a deep breath, he answered her call. Jack. Long time no talk, Anna's voice bubbled with enthusiasm. Just checking in. How's everything going with you? Jack hesitated. It's complicated, he admitted, the weight of his decisions pushing down on him. Business is intense. And I'm trying to reach out to my daughter. Oh wow, Anna exclaimed, a change in her tone evident. That's big. How do you feel about that? A crack formed in his stoic demeanor as he spoke. Honestly? Scared. I messed up and fear she won't want anything to do with me. Then just be real with her. You can't control how she feels, but you can control your honesty, she responded, echoing Maria's thoughts. Trust her to understand. With each exchange, the flicker of hope reignited within him. Without thinking too much, he ended the call and promptly turned back to his message. A small, shaky smile crept across his face as he hit send. In that moment, Jack felt a weight lift, if only slightly. He had embarked on a path he never thought he would choose to reach for love over the gilded world of wealth. Now, all he could do was wait. Just then, the door creaked open. Maria entered with a knowing smile, as if she could sense the shift inside him. Did you reach out? I did, he nodded, heart pulsing faster than ever. Now it's out of my hands. An unexpected knock followed, and Jack turned, the anticipation in his gut twisting as he opened the door. Standing there was Emma, his daughter, with a look of uncertainty shadowing her beautiful features. Dad, she started, voice trembling. Jack's heart lurched into his throat. Did she really come to talk? Would this be the beginning of their reunion or the end of his hope? As Emma stepped inside, Jack wondered what words would come next. Emma stepped over the threshold, her eyes flickering between caution and a yearning for connection. Jack held his breath, struggling to articulate how monumental this moment was. He could feel the weight of unspoken words hanging heavily in the air. Can we sit? He suggested, gesturing toward the living room, his voice barely above a whisper. Emma nodded, her movements hesitant, as if each step required a leap of faith. They settled onto the plush sofa, its familiar contours suddenly foreign in this new context. Jack ran a hand through his hair, trying to ward off the nervous energy buzzing through him. I'm really glad you came. Why did you reach out? Emma blurted, the boldness surprising him. After all this time. You just left. The accusation hung between them, sharp and true. Jack's heart sank. He couldn't throw excuses at her, could he? Instead, he leaned forward, trying to capture the moment with honesty. You're right. I made a lot of mistakes. I put work before family, and I'm so sorry. Emma's expression softened slightly, yet her gaze held a storm of emotions: hurt, confusion, and a hint of hope. It's been hard, Dad. You missed everything. My birthdays, graduations. I felt so alone. Jack felt a pang deep within. I know. And I deserve to feel that way. No matter how busy I was, I should have been there for you. I wanted to be, but I thought I was doing the right thing for our future. Supporting us with money isn't the same, she said quietly, her voice trembling. I needed you. I needed a dad. Tears threatened to spill from Jack's eyes. His body felt heavy with regret. I can't change the past, but I want to be there for you now. I want to know you, really know you. I want to make things right, if you'll let me. Emma drew in a shaky breath, her walls staring to crack. You can't just promise it, though I need to see it. I understand, he said, his voice steady, and I will show you. It's not just words anymore. This is the beginning of me trying to be the dad you deserve. You don't have to forgive me right away, but I'm here whenever you're ready. The two sat in silence, the tension slowly lifting but replaced by something altogether different, a fragile but real connection. Jack reached out, placing his hand gently over hers on the couch. She flinched but didn't pull away. About your message, Emma finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. We should definitely talk more, you know, if you really mean it. Jack felt a rush of warmth. I do. I really do. Okay, she nodded slowly, as if forging a deal. Then let us start with lunch next weekend. Deal, Jack breathed, relief washing over him at this small step toward reconnection. They exchanged tentative smiles, and in that moment, for the first time in years, hope surged within Jack. It felt like the beginning of something beautiful, something he had almost lost for good. Just then, a soft knock interrupted their moment. Jack turned to see Maria standing slightly ajar, a concerned look on her face. She stepped inside, her demeanor calm and supportive. Do you two need anything? She asked, her tone gentle. Jack shook his head, a smile creeping onto his face. We're just getting started. Maria's eyes brightened, and she nodded, silently encouraging them. But as soon as she left, Jack felt a rush of anxiety. Could he really follow through on this? As the evening settled in around them, Jack looked at Emma, his heart heavy with hope yet burdened with doubt. The road ahead was uncertain, but one thought burned brightly in his mind: he had to fight for this connection. Suddenly, Emma glanced at her phone, her eyes widening. I just got a text from Mom. She wants to talk about you and she sounds upset. Jack's heart raced at the mention of his ex-wife. What could she possibly want? Maybe we should meet her first, Emma began cautiously, but Jack cut her off, worry flooding his thoughts. Wait, what is going on? He asked, his pulse quickening. There it was, the new challenge hovering over them. Would this chance for reconciliation be threatened before it even began? Jack felt the temperature in the room drop. Emma's news settled like a stone in his stomach. The prospect of meeting his ex-wife, the woman he had hurt so deeply, sent waves of anxiety crashing over him. What could she possibly want now? He muttered, more to himself than to Emma. It's been years. The images of their last fight flashed through his mind, his voice raised, her tears, the weight of everything left unspoken. Emma watched him, her brow furrowed. I don't know, but it can't be good if she's upset. She hesitated, biting her lip. Maybe it's about us? Outside, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that seemed to creep closer. The earlier warmth between them was overshadowed by Jack's rising tension. Let me call her, Jack said, his voice barely above a whisper. Emma's eyes widened, and she shook her head. No, maybe we shouldn't. Why not? If she's upset, we should figure it out. Emma's expression hardened slightly. Because I want to know the dad who came here today, not the one who ran away. If this is about Mom, let us not let her come in and ruin what we just started. Jack wanted to argue but felt infinite complexity in her words. You're right, he admitted. But what if this somehow affects our lunch next weekend? Emma let out a small sigh, running a hand through her hair as if trying to untangle her thoughts. I just wish it didn't have to be like this. Can't we have one moment without her interference? Quiet hung heavily, a bittersweet tension wrapping around them. Jack held her gaze, searching for the right words. Maybe it's time we faced this together. It may not be easy, but... He swallowed, feeling the weight of his choices. I want you to know I'm here. Whatever happens. Emma searched for sincerity in his eyes. You mean it? She whispered, her vulnerability palpable. More than anything. The moment stretched between them, raw and electric. Just then, a text alert chimed from Emma's phone, breaking the spell. She glanced down, and her eyes flared with worry. It's from Mom again. She's on her way over. Should we? No, Emma said, shaking her head. Let us not be afraid. I might be afraid of her, but you can't be afraid of her anymore either. We can do this. Jack nodded, absorbing her strength. This was it. This was their chance to finally take control of their lives, to not let the past dictate their future. You're right. I should confront her, he said, feeling a surge of determination. For us. As they sat up straighter, a rush of resolve settled in. But as the doorbell rang, an icy wave of uncertainty crashed over Jack again. He felt the old, familiar anxiety creeping up his spine. What if she comes in with a lot of unresolved anger? Emma asked, her voice quavering again. What if we end up fighting? Jack clenched his fists, drawing his strength from Emma's presence. Then we'll figure it out together. No matter what. You don't have to face her alone. With that, the door creaked open, and a shadow loomed in the doorway. It was Maria, standing quietly with an envelope in her hands, a hint of confusion etched on her face. What's all this about? She asked, glancing back and forth between them. Jack's heart raced, wondering if he could share their plans. Would he have the strength to face Emma's mother after all? Would they be united or torn apart in the face of the woman who had caused so much pain? What lay ahead remained uncertain, but Jack felt something shift within him. He was ready to confront his past. As they all stood in the dim light of the living room, the air crackling with tension, he couldn't help but wonder, was this a moment of healing, or was it the beginning of another heartbreak? The silence stretched, thick and heavy, as Maria studied the two of them, trying to piece together the scene unfolding before her. The envelope in her hand crinkled as she tightened her grip, almost as if screaming for attention. Jack could feel his pulse racing, each beat echoing in his ears. This was it. Here they were, standing on the edge of everything they had avoided. Mom, Emma started, her voice barely a whisper, as if fear tangled with her words. What is going on? Maria interrupted, her tone sharper than Jack had ever heard it. I thought we were going to have a conversation, but now I see. Her eyes darted between Jack and Emma, suspicion mingling with hurt. What are you two hiding? Jack took a deep breath, feeling the pressure mount inside him like a balloon ready to burst. We're not hiding anything, he said, forcing his voice to hold steady. We were just what? Maria snapped, cutting him off and directing her fury at him. Were you going to keep this from me? Mom, please, Emma interjected, placing a hand on her mother's arm, trying to calm the storm brewing. This isn't just about you. We're together now. I wanted to tell you about Jack, about our plans. Maria recoiled slightly, disbelief flooding her features as she looked at Jack. Together? You? After everything? The anger in her voice cracked, revealing a layer of vulnerability. Jack met her gaze squarely. We're trying to move forward, Maria. I know I hurt you both in the past, but I'm here to make things right. She scoffed, shaking her head. You think you can just apologize and it'll fix everything? This isn't a game, Jack. You shattered Emma's home. Emma flinched at her mother's words, and Jack felt a wave of shame wash over him. He didn't want to defend himself, he wanted to show that he had changed. I know what I did. I wasn't the man either of you deserved. Maria's expression softened for a moment before hardening again. That doesn't make it okay. You're meddling in our lives again, thinking you can just step back in. Mom, I can't change what happened, Emma said, her voice stronger now. But I want to build something new with Jack. You need to give us that chance. You're too naive. She wants to drag you back into the chaos. Maria threw the envelope down on the table, her frustration palpable. It landed with a thud, and for a moment, everyone's eyes were drawn to it, the symbol of fractured trust. "What's in the envelope?" Jack asked, curiosity sparking amidst the tension. "It's a letter." Maria's voice cracked, the bravado slipping away. "Something I was going to give you about what happened, about why I left." The room fell silent, Jack's heart pounding as the weight of her words sank in. "You're saying there's a reason you walked away from everything?" Emma's eyes widened, anxiety flickering across her face. "Mom, you never mentioned this before. Maybe we should open it together?" Maria hesitated, tears glistening in her eyes. "I didn't want to relive it, Emma. But maybe it's time." As she reached for the envelope again, Jack felt the air grow heavy with anticipation. This wasn't just about old wounds, it felt like the beginnings of something profound unraveling. Would the truth reshape their lives or pull them apart even more? "Will you hear me out?" Maria asked, her voice thick with emotion. Jack glanced at Emma, who nodded, determination sparking in her eyes. "Yes. We need to hear it." The moment hung, charged with potential, creating a rift between past and present. Jack could feel a shift, a new layer of understanding taking root. But with every heartbeat, he sensed the danger lurking beneath the surface. Would this revelation bring healing, or would it open old scars? As Maria finally began to unfold the letter, Jack's apprehension morphed into a burning desire to understand. What had Maria been keeping from them, and would it change everything they were trying to build together? Maria's hands trembled as she drew the letter out of the envelope. The bright white paper contrasted with her darkening mood, a stark reminder of the shadows that had enveloped their lives for so long. "Just hear me," she pleaded, her voice breaking as tears glistened in her eyes. Silence enveloped them again, pressing down like a heavy blanket. Emma stepped closer, her hand finding Maria's, squeezing it like a lifeline. "We're here, Mom. We want to listen." "Please," she urged softly. Jack held his breath. Each second that ticked by felt like an hour. Maria unfolded the letter carefully, her gaze flitting over the words, almost hesitant to bring them to life. This was my goodbye," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. "Your goodbye?" Jack echoed, trying to keep his tone steady. The air felt electric, charged with unspoken emotions. "Yes," Maria said, her voice tinged with regret. "When I left, it wasn't just you, Emma, it was everything. I saw the cracks forming, and I thought I was saving you both. Maybe I was just saving myself." Jack's heart twisted at her words, but he sensed a fragile honesty beneath them. "You needed to leave? You felt trapped?" A nod from Maria confirmed his thoughts. "I never felt so lost, so alone. Leaving seemed like the only option, but it hurt me every single day." Emma's grip tightened. "You didn't think we needed you?" "I didn't want you to watch me break," Maria admitted, her voice trembling with the weight of her admission. "I thought distance would spare you pain. I never imagined it would create a chasm." Jack exchanged a look with Emma, trying to absorb the revelation. "You thought we'd be better off without you?" "Maybe I was wrong," Maria replied, glancing down at the letter again. "But I thought of you too constantly. I just didn't know how to be the mother you needed." "I needed you to be honest," Emma countered, her tone now softening. "It hurt to feel abandoned, to think I wasn't worth fighting for." Maria's tears started to cascade down her cheeks, the years of guilt spilling forth. "You were worth more than I can say. I wanted to protect you, but my choices only brought more pain." The room felt thick with the weight of truth, yet Jack felt something shifting. It was as if the brittle shell that had encased them for years was beginning to crack. "Do you think?" Jack began, but Maria interrupted him, her eyes widening in realization. "If I'd known you'd forgive me, maybe I wouldn't have stayed away so long." I've struggled with forgiveness too, Mom, Emma confessed. But if we want to heal, we need to face this together. Jack felt a surge of hope stirring in his heart. We can build something real. Together. Maria nodded, though the fear still clouded her eyes. But there's more. Jack swallowed hard. He could feel the tension rising again, catching in his throat. What do you mean? I wrote this letter not just to you both but to myself. A way to come to terms with everything I'd done and to learn why I struggled to stay around. Emma's expression shifted from concern to determination. Whatever it is, we can face it, Mom. Together, Jack echoed. Maria inhaled deeply, her breath shaky. I need to know if you're ready for the truth, if you're willing to accept what happened next. Jack's pulse quickened, uncertainty mixing with anticipation. What happened next? As Maria began reading, each word hanging between them like a fragile thread, Jack realized they stood on the edge of a new beginning or the precipice of complete destruction. Would this next part of the story ignite healing or push them even further apart? Maria closed her eyes for a moment, the weight of the letter heavy in her hands. It all started the night I left, she said, her voice trembling again as she forced the words out. I thought I was running toward something better. But I was really just escaping the mess I made. A mess I didn't know how to fix. Emma leaned in, her brow furrowed with concern and curiosity. Jack held his breath, ready for whatever revelations might spill forth. There was so much anger and hurt at home. I wanted to mask it all. So I dove headfirst into my work, Maria continued, her voice gaining strength, a flicker of resolve igniting within her. I lost myself completely in the office culture. I thought if I could bury my pain deep enough, I'd emerge unscathed, maybe even as a different person. Jack shifted closer to Maria, urging her on with his eyes. But that didn't happen, he prompted gently. No, it didn't. I ended up pushing everyone away. I thought that staying busy would fill the void. But all it did was create more distance. The holidays became unbearable. Birthdays and anniversaries slipped by without a word from me. She shook her head, tears spilling over again. I wanted you to believe I was okay, even when inside, I was falling apart. Emma's heart broke a little more for her mother. But why? Why not tell us you were struggling? Maria looked into her daughter's eyes, searching for understanding. Because I couldn't admit it. I couldn't face the shame of failing you both. I thought I was being brave by leaving a messy hero fleeing the scene. But in truth, I was losing my family. Mom, we could have helped you, Jack said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. You didn't have to go through it alone. Maria took a deep breath. That's what this letter was meant to clarify. I had buried words, memories, a piece of myself that I thought could stay hidden. She looked at the paper, hands shaking slightly. But throughout those years, I stumbled onto something unexpected. Someone who changed everything. Jack raised an eyebrow, intrigued. What do you mean? A woman named Clara, she revealed, her expression transforming from sorrow to something resembling fondness. She was my maid for a brief period. I hired her thinking it would help keep the house in order while I focused on work, but she turned out to be so much more. She saw through my pretenses, my walls. She brought light into my windowless days. Emma's eyes narrowed as she processed this new piece of information. A maid? Yes, and when I broke down one evening, she just sat with me. No judgment, no clichés. Just listened. She told me that it's okay to lean on others for support, that no one is meant to carry burdens alone. Jack's forehead creased with confusion. That sounds pivotal. But then why didn't you think to reach out to us? I was ashamed. Ashamed of needing help when I was supposed to be strong. Strength became my armor, but it was a false one. I wanted to be the perfect mother, wife, employee. And in that pursuit, I lost who I truly was. The silence that followed was palpable. The four of them were tethered together by unspoken feelings, the air charged with newfound understanding. "What else does the letter say?" Emma finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Maria took a deep breath, her fingers tight around the edges of the page. "It goes deep, kids. It talks about my regrets, choices I made that led to my breakdown and left you both in pieces. I need to share it, but it won't be easy for any of us." Jack felt his heart race again, unsure if they were ready for the profound truths hidden inside those pages. Yet, he also recognized an opportunity for healing if they could endure the pain. Maybe they could find hope waiting on the other side. "Then let us face it together," he said firmly, looking back and forth between Maria and Emma, solid determination in his voice. "Together," Emma echoed. As Maria turned the page, Jack could feel the ground shifting beneath them, reality looming like a wave ready to crash. Would their hearts withstand what was about to unfold? "Mom," Emma began, but Maria simply looked down, her eyes glossing with tears. "Read," was all she said. In that moment, they realized the journey they were embarking on was not simply about the past, it was the unpredictable path forward that held the most uncertainty. What more would they uncover? Maria's hands trembled as she opened the letter. The crinkled edges whispered promises of secrets long buried. She cleared her throat, fighting the churning of emotions. "Okay, here it goes," she said, her voice low. Jack and Emma leaned closer, their eyes fixed on her, hearts pounding in sync. The air thickened as she began to read, each word a step deeper into her past. "Dear Jack and Emma," she read, pausing to collect herself. "There's so much you don't know about the choices I made. Things that feel like the weight of the world on my shoulders. Life became a series of locked doors I couldn't open. Each path I chose only led me further away from you." Tears spilled down Maria's cheeks. She felt the warmth of Emma's hand, a reassuring squeeze, a reminder that she wasn't alone anymore. "There was a day," she continued, "when Clara looked at me with eyes full of truth and said, 'You're not broken, Maria, just lost.' I didn't understand what she meant until it was too late. I needed to find myself again, to be the mother you deserved." Emma blinked away her own tears. "What happened next?" she whispered, taking a deep breath. Maria pressed on. "Clara pushed me to confront my feelings. One evening, she helped me organize the attic, and in doing so, I unearthed my old journals. Pages filled with dreams, sorrows, everything I had abandoned." She smiled faintly, a bright memory surfacing. "Seeing my past self opened my eyes. I had forgotten the artist I once was, the one who found solace in painting, in expressing my emotions through colors." Jack nodded, engaging with the vision of a mother he had only glimpsed in old photographs. "Did you paint again?" he asked, excitement bubbling within him. "I did, Jack. And with every stroke, I began to release the pent-up anger and sadness." Maria paused, her voice thick with emotion. "It was liberating, but it also reminded me of how much I had lost while pretending to hold it all together." Emma felt a small smile tugging at her lips. "So Clara became your coach?" "More like my light," Maria said with a soft chuckle. "But I made another mistake. I started to lean on her too heavily, mistaking her kindness for my salvation. I thought I could fix everything, that I could heal with her help. But that's when I realized." "What?" Emma asked, her heart racing, wanting to know more. Maria hesitated, her fingers brushing over the edges of the letter. "That I had to take responsibility for my own happiness. Clara opened the door, but I had to be the one to step through it. I had to mend things with you both, seek forgiveness, show you the real me, flaws and all." Silence enveloped the room, punctuated only by the sound of a nearby clock ticking relentlessly onward. Each tick echoed their shared journey, painful yet essential. "What did you learn from Clara?" Jack asked gently. "That vulnerability is a strength," Maria replied, her voice steadying. She taught me that it's okay to relate to others, to show our scars. I wanted to spare you from hurt, but in doing that, I deprived you of knowing the real me. An imperfect mother who is still learning. Emma's heart swelled, understanding dawning as she processed her mother's words. Mom, the fact that you're here, willing to share this now, means everything. We can start fresh, right? Absolutely, Maria said, her gaze firm and full of hope. But I need to promise you, this journey isn't over. There are more truths in this letter that may surprise you. Jack felt a mix of apprehension and eagerness. What's next, Mom? What happens after we face this together? Maria looked at both of them, her heart racing, anticipation knotting in her stomach. We reclaim our future. But I need you both to understand facing the truths of the past may lead to uncomfortable revelations. It won't all be easy. Emma and Jack exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. They were ready. Maria turned the letter back to the beginning, her heart racing at the thought of what was to come. Are you two with me? Always, Emma replied fiercely, locking eyes with her brother. Jack nodded, his voice strong. Let us do this. Gazing at her family, Maria felt a flicker of hope igniting within her. She was no longer alone, they would navigate this winding path together, each step bringing them closer to healing, and as Maria prepared to delve deeper into the letter, she couldn't shake the feeling that some of the truths would lead them to unexpected revelations, truths not just about her past, but about the bonds of love that could withstand any storm. Would the discoveries tear them apart, or bind them closer than ever? As Maria looked at her family, the air felt heavier but filled with a sense of courage. Jack and Emma had taken a leap of faith, ready to confront not just the past, but the uncertain road ahead. Let us dive in, she said, determination lacing her voice. She turned to the letter, running her fingers over the words she had poured her heart into. The room held an attentive silence, each person on the brink of something transformative. There's a reason I kept this from you, fear of the past repeating itself, of opening wounds that might never heal. But keeping secrets only fueled the distance between us. Emma leaned in, her heart racing, ready to absorb whatever lay ahead. Mom, we've faced so much. We can get through this together, whatever it is. Maria nodded, pushing through the apprehension that had anchored her for too long. The journey to healing starts with honesty. I never thought facing my choices would lead me back to you, but here we are. She took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. After Clara helped me reclaim my art, I considered reaching out. But I was paralyzed, believing I'd lost your trust forever, she read, her voice cracking with the weight of her admission. Jack felt a swell of compassion in his heart. You didn't lose us, Mom. We've just been waiting for you to find your way back. Maybe, Maria whispered, her eyes glistening. But it took me too long to see what was truly valuable. It's not just about what I can give you, it's about being present in your lives even when it's messy. Just then, she paused. The room felt completely still, as if the universe was waiting with bated breath. At one point, I convinced myself that if I achieved enough success, security, it would fill the void. But it only drew me further away from you both. The honesty in her words resonated, echoing Jack's own realizations in recent days. He glanced at Emma, seeing tears glimmering in her eyes but understanding shining through. Are we at the turning point? Emma asked softly, but with strength. What does that mean for us? Maria took a moment, letting the question sink in. It means taking responsibility. It means you two deserve to know me, not the facade I curated, but the real and flawed person who will always be a work in progress. Jack felt the ache in his chest soften. This isn't just about reconciling with the past. It's about building a future, right? Exactly, Maria confirmed, a smile breaking through her sadness. I want to be the mother you both deserve, one who communicates, who embraces vulnerability, who really listens. As Maria continued reading, the letter unfolded a series of contradictions, a struggle between her ambitions and the reality of her failures. There was a moment when Clara encouraged me to seek forgiveness, and I thought, why bother? What good would it do? But she reminded me that healing begins by acknowledging the scars I left behind. Tears streamed down Emma's cheeks as she nodded. Mom, we need you to show us that side of you. We want to know you now, the way you are today. I want to do this, Maria vowed, her heart racing with renewed purpose. We're starting fresh, where honesty will guide each step we take. Can we try? Jack squeezed Emma's hand, adrenaline coursing through him. Yes. We can break cycles. We can choose love over fear. Together. Maria smiled genuinely, her heart swelling with hope. The air, once thick with uncertainty, began to clear. They had teetered on the brink of despair, yet now stood on the precipice of reuniting. This is just the beginning, Maria said with newfound confidence. I'll continue sharing more than just words, but the transformation needed to guide us all. Together, Emma echoed softly, squeezing both their hands. The bond forged through tears and truths had cracked open a door wide enough to let warmth flood in. As Jack glanced around, he took in the promise of a new reality, a reality ripe with aspiration, where each of them would be a pillar of support. They would shift to one another, heal together, and embrace each difficult truth that lay ahead. In that moment, Jack felt something profound, a flicker of joy, a sensation that life might finally steer them onto a brighter path. Combined, they would wrestle with the unknown, face vulnerabilities, and squeeze laughter from the bittersweet experience of life. Let us take this step into the light, he said firmly. I'm ready. With Maria's resolve ignited and Emma's spirit reborn, they moved forward. Healing wasn't about denying the past, it was about embracing it as part of their story, a story they would now rewrite, hand in hand, side by side. As they moved deeper into dialogue, laughter escaped from their lips, intermingled with the heavy moments. The air filled with hope, and a new love washed over them, invigorating their spirits. Through the storm of their past, the true strength of the bonds that bind them shimmered brighter than ever, and as the night deepened, Jack made a vow to himself: he would embrace this journey, for love awaited on the other side, and they would weather every storm together. Now, here's the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more hearts. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending, what touched you the most. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can inspire change.